Hello. The reason I'm showing you this bird is because it was singing like you wouldn't believe before, and I was trying to capture it again. A little terror, like any animal. They won't do as you ask. But I'm going to liberate it out of its cage. So I'll let you can watch. Might bite me. Come here. Up on. That's it. Come on. Come here. Don't be scared. Up on. No dancing. Come on. Come on, that's the way. Down we go. That's it. There we go. We have ourselves. This is Gabriel. How are you? We've also got a dog here. Hello, Molly, who stares intensely at the bird. Look, watch. Molly. See if you can see. I'll just... I don't know if you can. Hang on. It's hard to... Oh, there's the dog. Hang on. Down. Hey. Might be. Don't know if I'm getting any good here. But these... Oh. I'll do some typing. What's going on here? So check out the dog. I've got the bird. The bird's actually on the keyboard. Molly? What do you think, Molly? Hello? What do you think? Hey. Let's sit here. Come here. And this is a crazy cocky. These are cockatiels, Queensland cockatiels. Do you want to scratch? It's okay. They do that. I know their behaviour because I used to have one. How's that? What you looking at? So look how cute they are. Go on, attack that. It's really interesting. See how curious? So. Hello? I'll probably try and chew my necklace at some point. Yeah, it'll go for it, but it chews me instead. Look at the dog. This is a relationship between the two of them. They love each other. The dog won't hurt the bird, and there's a cat here too that won't hurt the bird. So those natural rivalries, often people frame nature as, one animal's an enemy of another. They're actually not. When they actually get to know each other, animals come together because they're personalities. They're not just animals. We just look at them because of our consciousness and think that they are just pure instinct. They're not. They have personalities, and they're very funny. This dog played with me yesterday when I came home. It actually ran around the backyard a few times, acting the clown. It's a great dog. It's beautiful. But how's the cat? The cat here won't attack this bird. And that doesn't mean it doesn't want to eat a bird. It does, but not this one, because it knows this one. There was also stories of lions and Labradors and, animals that were natural predators that actually made friends with the animal that was what they would usually attack. There's goats. I think there's been goats and dogs as well. If you look on YouTube, you can see lots. I've actually posted some videos on animals that actually make friends and they are typically, oh, look at this. Typically what we would say are rivals, or one's a dominant species. Well, it actually doesn't work like that. They're very, very intelligent, very. And I've even seen the intelligence in goldfish. People go, how can a goldfish be smart? Look, it's got no brain. All I can say is that the goldfish, the last place I looked after, a goldfish, one of them, well, it wasn't just goldfish, there was a catfish in there too. It was a small fish. And it was, I put my finger in the fish tank and it did go for it. It doesn't have teeth or anything, so it's only going to touch the tip of your finger. And it might have thought me food. It might have thought that was food. So I can understand the genetics may trigger. But yeah, the goldfish, they would come across from one side of the tank to the other when they saw me, and they'd come to the side of the tank I was. I noticed that they noticed me when I moved in the room. So they're not just, in a sense, ascetics. They're living beings that are very aware of their environment. That's what I noticed. I really notice them because I don't look at them like other people look at them. Hello. I see them as friends. Oh, it's got a dog. It's a funny bird. It was. That's his personality. That's what I used to do with my bird. I had one for. What I used to do is this. And my bird used to go. Had two of them, female and a male. Banshee was one and Bonnie was the other. And I had a cane curtain and the birds would chase each other up and down the curtain. It was so funny. Now, this is whistling normally, but it was sounding like a friggin' orchestra before because the people here are classical. I'm sure the birds heard a lot of classical. Can you hear the magpie in the background? You can always tell when they're happy. They start singing. Look at the dog. Doesn't take its eyes off it. Dog's fascinating. That means it's really happy. It means it trusts me. It just made a little bit of a funny noise with its beak. It's another sign of joy from a bird. It's hearing the birds outside. See the dog? You can see its eyes. It's hilarious, isn't it? Look at that crazy dog. Like that? Me and the dog just made eye contact. So these are Queensland cockatiels. I had two birds. One, I had them for about 18 years. Long time. My bird used to crawl on my face and it used to clean my eyelashes. If I have a shower, it used to fly into the bathroom. It was really funny. It used to go, and I just laughed. And I used to take it out in its cage. It was two of them. Put them on the grass. They love that. And you let them have a bit of water, like you spray them. Could be sprinkler. They love it. See if we can get this one. Now don't get off defensive. Hop on. It's very strong-minded, this one. They like that. Let's do a little scratch. They really love their faces being blown. See if we can do the cockat's crest. Scratch, scratch. Don't. He's a cutie. Scratch. Scratch. What you're saying here is trust. Cute. You like that? No, you don't react when it does that. It's just, it's okay. Shh. What that tells me is someone's probably been a little bit rough with it. But they're beautiful. Whenever animals attack, it's only creating a boundary because they get a little bit frightened. So you don't push the boundary, you let it win. bird and the dog just looked at each other. See, nature is so precious. And yet we treat this world like it's expendable because some think it is. It's not. This world is a jewel. We're all stewards here. We own nothing. That was something we all made up. There's many beings here that are spirits themselves that have a right to life. And they have their own destiny. We just think it's all about us all the time. We're very human-centric. But we share this planet with many species, organisms, you know, the microbiology, things we can't see that keep this whole system alive. And yet we behave as if we own all of this, that is Earth Inc. It's not. This planet's 4 billion years old. For those of us alive today, we've only been here, what, up to 60, 70 years? It's nothing. And yet we believe we know it all. We don't know anything. We don't know anything. We haven't even begun to know ourselves or the planet. But we're caught up in silos of belief systems that are reinforced by others because we say this is the way it is. It's not. It's just the way you believe it is. That doesn't make it true, you know? It doesn't make it true just because everybody believes the same thing. And when you step out of the comfort zone of who you think you are, you start to realize the world is actually sacred. I do remember when I went to Alice Springs and I was actually looking for a place to stay. I didn't have money for a hotel. And I was too tired to set up the tent, I remember, because I was doing all the driving, you know, obviously travelling alone around Australia. And there's long distances here, so long distances, so I was pretty exhausted. And I ended up finding some hotel. It's a curious one. And it wasn't a hotel, it was like a caravan park with motels in it. What would I call it? Sort of, they weren't demountables. Just trying to remember. They're little cabins. Anyway, for some reason, I don't know how it happened, but the person who owned the place let me stay for free for, I think, 3 or 4 days. I don't know how that happened, actually. Anyway, they were Christians, and maybe that was, I don't know, they just decided to help me out. They knew I had no money. And I just remember standing, you know, sitting near the campfire. There's Indigenous people there because they were reconciling with them. This bird wants to jump onto the keyboard. They were reconciling as part of their peace work. It was actually pretty interesting. I just had another memory from that. It was pretty interesting. But what I was going to tell you was I spoke to the Indigenous woman. She was an elder. And she said every piece of the land is sacred. And I knew that's true. I knew that was true. When you see with respect, this is where values come in. If you really see things through the eyes of respect, you don't just presume you know everything. And, you know, the white occupation of Australia has been on the basis of, you know, an attitude of superiority in actual fact. People lived here 50,000 years plus. They survived off the land. We couldn't survive a week. Some in the military might say they can survive, but they don't know the bush herbs. I mean, some of them might actually. Depends on those soldiers, I guess. But I don't know if they teach it through the military. They might. They might have basic survival in the desert, I'm not sure, but the Indigenous, their intention for getting that knowledge was not just to survive in a combat situation, it was life. That was their normal. And they knew where everything was, the song lines, they knew the corroborees, as they connected and became one with the species system. They knew all the species. And I do think up to 50,000 years ago, some of them they were called megafauna. We're talking huge wombats. I'm assuming there were huge kangaroos, but who knows? There were huge people, probably. There were dinosaurs here in Australia. I saw that in a museum. I actually saw some of the megafauna. It's massive. So there was a point on the planet where the species were huge. And we were not the top of the food chain. There's a great humility in knowing that. Species have evolved. We play with genetic structures. We call it GMOs, biotechnology, and we say this is advanced. It's not. Yes, we're exploring the biology and we're getting the sense of playing God with it because we're seeing nature respond to our manipulation. And then we'll justify it as commercial. It's creating, resistant, some sort of insect repellent plants, or it can live without water, or, just manipulate a gene here and a gene there. But what we don't have an awareness of is the whole system. We're not holistic. We operate in silos of awareness. And we think that's the world. It's not. We have no idea what the world is. Even those with the most knowledge here don't know anything. And there's a great awareness in that knowing that we're on a journey. And these little species, this little one has a right to be here. I have no right. I see this, the house that I'm staying at as its house, as this bird's house, this dog's house. So I don't presume control over the animals. I seek to make friends with them when I house sit. Right? And I form relationships with them as equal. This one's just getting to know me. This is the second time we've connected. See the beauty in it. That's love. You might not think this is love, but it's love. I can tell you it is. That's why I'm saying it's the greatest power in the universe. It's not just some idealistic statement. The whole of life exists out of a form of love. And we don't speak their language. Although I get a feeling for the bird, I get a feeling for what it, it's curious. I can see its curiosity. Hello, what are you looking at? Why don't you look at yourself? See, it's curious. It's looking around and it's very alert. It's not distracted. It's got no iPhone. And when I say that, I mean it. The animals, they know everything that's going on in their environment because they're alert, they're sharp. See how sharp this one is? It's exploring me. It's feeling very confident. I'm like a tree. Sadly, it's got its wings clipped, but my bird didn't. I used to let it fly around the house. This one can fly a little bit, but because its wings are clipped, can't go far. See how it listens? It's actually listening. See it look at me? It's because it's acknowledging me. It knows the sound's coming from me. And as I'm talking, it's enjoying it because it's like a sound. For the bird, it's like another bird singing when I'm talking. That's why it's happy. See how sensitive its tail is? Look. It's not just a feather. The bird feels its tail. You're going to do your orchestra like you did before. That was pretty neat. Oh, it wants to jump off. Probably chew my earrings. Oh, it's going to go for the necklace. Maybe, yeah, it will. Usually bites me. Well, it did last time. So these are cockatiels. Aren't they good, cute? I'm going to get it close. So that the Indigenous people also say listen deeply. And of course, we talk risk management. We talk we have control sort of mindsets. The deep listening is the very centerpiece of peace, in actual fact. It's deep listening to yourself, in actual fact. But it's also deeply listening to other people. Until we can find a space where we can actually coexist with all life forms, including humans, with respect, meaning to really deeply listen and to allow that other to experience what it needs to experience without being forced and controlled. I'm not forcing the bird. I'm actually working with the bird. Getting to know it. And I want the bird to have what the bird wants. The bird's not here to entertain me. I'm actually entertaining the bird. Hello. Bringing it joy. That's what I'm doing. And when you bring anything joy, life gives back to you. You know, it was amazing in Alice, the McDonald Ranges. Went to some beautiful places. You know, Australia is very, very beautiful. You think it's all just desert. I mean, the majority of the country is desert, but there's gorges, there's watering holes. The Indigenous were all different languages, and they mapped out the entire country. They were very much one with the land. They do know the land. I'm forgetting it now because they've been indoctrinated with Western culture, but we are alongside the most ancient culture on the planet who have much knowledge, and we, in our blindness, believing in superiority of technology, which is what we do believe, we lost sight of ourselves to know thyself. And the Indigenous knew themselves as one with nature, as one with life. That's a very high level of knowledge. You can't teach that. You can only experience it. And I believe, the highest intelligence is making peace with all life, not dominating it. That comes from fear. Dominance comes from fear. Well, people will say, well, I'm not fearful when I'm dominating that. What they don't understand is at a deeper level they are, because they want things to turn out the way they want it. They feel comfortable when the world shows up in their image because they're not adaptable. So when people talk sustainability, I smile. They're not actually adaptable to the great diversity that's around them. They're trying to force life into their own image so that they can have more rather than share more, rather than give more. Look at this. It's going for me, Nicholas. Just don't chew the human. I knew you'd find it. Chew, chew, chew. That's what birds love. I'm waiting for it to bite me to miss the chain. And you'll hear me scream. I'll sound like a parrot. Oh, you're a funny bird, aren't you? Ooh. Just don't break it. This is got my crystal in here. I'll show you my crystal. It's always a nice effect, actually, is looking through a crystal into something like this. See? Isn't that beautiful? See what it does if I bring it closer. Bird's curious, look. What's that? Look at that. It's not interested. It's not seed. You interested? No. It's going to chew the human. It's now on the keyboard. Let's have a look. See? Can you see its cocky's breath? Oh, you can see its tail. See? I'm just playing with the graphics. I'm not sure. Don't